Don't look so stressed. Yay! Well done. We did it. It took quite a bit of practicing to get that heart right. Hello, everyone. We are doing a Jeff Ed today on kindness. So swipe in and say hi. I'm going to check and see who's here. But come on in and swipe in and say hello. We're excited about this one. Hey, Rae.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. We're gonna be checking in properly just now. I'm just checking to see where we are. I can't see us on Jeff Life yet, but maybe we're on Jeff together. Let me check. And let me just see. All right. All right, people, say hi if you're here. We're excited to be doing this with you today. This is such a perfect post for February, such a perfect Jeff Ed for February. Kindness and showing kindness to yourself and to others, and connection as well. So I'm just having a hard time trying to find us here. Just give me a second. I'm just trying to see where we are.
There we go.
You found us.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Which one are you on?
Jeff. Just Jeff.
The Jeff together one.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let me see.
Okay, so I see Auntie Pat here. Hi, Auntie Pat. Welcome.
Yay!
Hi,
Auntie.
Joy. Sue. Hi, Dave. Nicole. Bridget. Karen. Deline.
Oh, awesome.
Hi, guys. Yeah, welcome. Welcome.
Yay. Oh, that's exciting. Well done. Cool beans. Okay, cool. You're on Jeff together. I'm on Jeff Life, so I can see people there as well. Fantastic.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Coach Tash, if you don't know who I am, and I'm joined by Rae, the amazing Rae over here, and she's known as the Ray of Sunshine in Jeff in the community. So, so we're going to be talking about showing kindness and connection to yourself and others. And so, I think we have asked a few people what they think kindness is. So if you want to write your definition in the description and in the comments, in the comments here, that would be great, so that we can go over that. But I just wanted to quickly do a quick little introduction with Rae over here. So Rae, like I said, the Ray of Sunshine. She has a background in psychology and organizational psychology. She's a Jeff ambassador in Cape Town, and she has a passion for any sort of people development. And she just loves helping people to grow and develop. So we've invited her today to do a Jeff Ed with us on kindness. So Rae, I'm going to actually hand over to you so you can go ahead and start with your presentation.
Thank you so much. Just welcome everybody. And as Coach Tash said, it's such an important topic, and it's often one that's neglected. I think that's one of the biggest things here, and especially with the month of love and share the love in Feb with Jeff, we did definitely think it's appropriate. And I think we all need to kind of look at, how we practice kindness, how we practice compassion, and also just making sure that, we don't forget ourselves in the whole mix. Okay. So I've got a presentation that I do want to share with you guys. So again, ask questions, comments, let us know your thoughts. It's a very interactive session, so we'd love for you guys to participate. And let's get going. Okay, so Tash, can you see the presentation yet?
Not yet. There we go.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so as Tash mentioned, earlier we did ask you guys, what is your definition of kindness? And I'm actually going to kickstart and go ahead with one of the comments that Lachey posted, which was, kindness being able to respect other people and being able to see good in each other. Kindness means supporting other people who might need some support and encouragement. Kindness means sharing a smile, a hug that might help someone else feel better, and just being a friend who listens and cares with no judgment. So thank you, Lachey, for your awesome comments on what kindness means to you. Coach Tash, was there any on your side that you want to share?
Sure. Deline Blackman said, kindness is, for me, is offering support encouragement, and giving to others without expecting anything back. It makes me feel good when I can help someone or do something for someone. Coach Jade said that to me, kindness means prioritizing someone else's happiness and being thoughtful towards others. Coach Mel said, kindness is seeing how you can give of your time to make someone else's day better, or knowing how to show someone that they matter. This can be a flower next to the bed, or a short note, or just a hug. I love that picture of me hugging Desi over there. That's just so meaningful right now to me. And then kindness is filling up someone else's heart tank and making them feel as special as they are. And that was Coach Heather's feedback as well. Thank you to the coaches for participating.
And guys, for you as well, comment and share with us. I mean, even if you didn't get a chance to share, that's okay. We'll go through the comments a bit later as well. So what does kindness mean to you? What's so interesting, and I have to say this, is no one was wrong, because that's definitely, what kindness means to a lot of people. It's very individual, it's very personal. But no one mentioned self-kindness. And that's so interesting, because often, when we think about kindness, it's about, giving that other person, a friend, a family member, a hug. It's giving them that love and support if they're going through something. But what about when that something happens to you? In terms of the way that we see ourselves, our internal narrative can be so harsh sometimes. And, at first, practicing self-kindness can be quite challenging. And I mean, I myself am on that journey, but it's definitely something that we need to be more mindful of. So when we think about it, the more we speak about it, the more we, engage with it, the easier it becomes. Okay, so yeah, just wanted to mention that, we need to start thinking about self-kindness and what that means, because as Coach Tash said earlier, we can't give from an empty tank. So how do you start building up that self-kindness? How do you start building that self-compassion in order to be the best version of yourself for others? So something that I wanted to also just go into a little bit is really some of the theory around behavior. And, B.F. Skinner, psychologist, so it focuses on reinforcement theory and operant conditioning. So what's interesting here is that we can actually tie this to the behavior and practicing that self-kindness. So if we look at the desired behavior, right, so that's that kindness and connection. So I recognize that connecting with others and practicing kindness is good for me. That feeling that you get when you do help someone out, when you give someone food, when you give someone clothing, whatever that might mean for you. But you recognize that there's like good feels, that comes with it. And then what starts to happen is, if we think about practicing that self-kindness again, right? So we recognize that we like that behavior. So if we look at, okay, so what are some of the tools and resources that I can use to continuously practice this kindness and compassion to myself? And that's when the reinforcement starts to happen. Okay, so if we think about some of the tools, and I'll take you guys through it a bit later, but there are certain things that you can do. So let's say compassionate phrases. Let's say you start practicing that over and over. What starts to happen there is that consistent practice shows an increased frequency of desired behavior. So it's like you crave that, and you want it. So if I reward my behavior, it's definitely more beneficial to me. And then the last one, which is, good mental well-being. And ultimately, that's what we're all on a path to achieve, is good mental well-being and taking care of ourselves holistically. And that's really just where we say, I practice kindness and connection regularly as part of my daily life. So you can start to see that behavior is then consistently repeated, which is really, really amazing. And that's what we want at the end of the day. Okay. So in terms of well-being, often within the JES community, we speak about, the 3 principles. It's nutrition, it's obviously being fit, and then obviously making sure that your mind is well, So when we think about, holistic wellness, we think about kindness and how compassion can tie into that for ourselves. Martin Seligman is a positive psychologist. So something that he really thought of and put together was something called the Permabeat Theory of well-being. And what's so important here for everybody to recognize is that it's a journey. And it's something where, at the end of the day, we set these goals, we set, we put practices in place in order to achieve, this ultimate well-being. But how do we get to that point? How do we know that we're there? So if you look at the image that I've put in front of you, we'll start with the peak. So that's that positive emotion coming through. It's feeling good. It's having that right balance of positivity to build our resilience. And I'll speak to you guys again also about that a bit later. It's then about having that engagement with others. What does an engaged life look like? Is it engagement in your community, the Jeff community? Is it engagement with your family? What does that mean for you? Relationships, so it's having authentic and meaningful relationships. So, how do we create those authentic connections with people? And again, this is why this topic is so important. It's creating those authentic relationships. The next one is meaning. So, what is your purpose? What is your ultimate why? What is your sense of being connected? Okay, to something that's bigger than yourself. The last one, well, actually not the last one, but it kind of is the last one, is achievement. So we often speak about this within the Jeff community is, what are our goals? It's being able to have that self-belief, to be able to fulfill and pursue and accomplish the goals that you set out for yourself. And ultimately, this whole thing tied together ultimately leads to well-being. And something that was recently added, which I thought was quite important here and speaks to everything that we do on a day-to-day, is definitely vitality. So it's your overall well-being. So it's eating well, moving regularly, and sleeping deeply. So all of these things allow you to practice self-kindness and self-compassion. And I think that, again, leads to that maximum state of flourishing where you can actually say, you know what, I've achieved well-being, good mental well-being. Coach Tash, I don't see, are there any questions coming through? Are we all good?
No, I think we're doing well. There's just a lot of people swiping in and saying hi. So hi, Tanya and Aiden. Candace is there. Merle is there. Nikki Kemp is there. Nicole Larish, I think we've already mentioned that before. So yeah, so just seeing quite a bit of people engaging and coming in and saying hi. But yeah, I just love this Permabeat theory that you were sharing, and especially in the context of Jeff, because I call it the trifecta, the trifecta of fitness, nutrition, and mindset. And I think we do a lot at Jeff with fitness, and we do a lot with nutrition. And it's just so important to see the big picture for our overall well-being, how important the mindset is and what a big part it plays. So yeah, so I love this. I'm like eating it up.
No, that's awesome. And I mean, guys, that's what it's all about, right? At the end of the day, it's about that holistic well-being. And I think that's, as Coach Tash was saying, it's not just focusing on certain areas, it's about the whole package. And making sure that ultimately everything that you do leads to good mental well-being and good mental health. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm just waiting for it to move. Okay, there we go. So a key part of this, I'm really drilling down into what is that self-kindness and self-compassion. When we think about what is kindness, kindness is often seen as kind of like an external act. So it's a behavioral action that's external. So it speaks to warmth, affection, a lot of what you guys have actually mentioned earlier in your comments, and really just promoting that social connection with others. So that's where kindness and connection tie together. What's often forgotten is compassion. Okay, so compassion is an inner experience. Okay, so when we think about compassion and self-compassion, it's asking yourself the question, do we have, sympathy? Do we have empathy? And do we have concern for ourselves? We often, again, forget that we go through things as well. We have challenges, we face adversity, and, depending on the role that you're in, whether you're a mom, dad, sister, brother, friend, aunt, uncle, whatever the case may be, we all go through our different emotions. So when we think about having that and practicing that self-kindness and that self-compassion, it really is about thinking, number one, am I caring towards myself as I am and to others? Okay. So if I were to think about a negative thing that I would say to myself, and again, we don't often recognize that we do, where I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I'm not at that point where I want to be, it's taking that moment and saying, but I'm on a journey. It's okay. I'll get there, And that's what often goes on in the Jeff community is we speak about trusting the process. We speak about trusting that system, and eventually we'll get to that point. So we can say it to others when we see it, but we don't say it ourselves. So something to reflect on.
Yeah, and I think from a coaching side, sorry, lovely, interrupting
you.
Go
for it.
I think from a coaching side as well, we see this where clients will look at themselves, comparing themselves to others, and magnifying, their inability to achieve what others have done, and that's just not a way of showing kindness to themselves. They need to look at what they have accomplished and celebrate that, so that they can see how far they've come.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, right? It's always about, we shouldn't be comparing our start to someone else's middle or end. And we often do that. It's something I've done before, and it's why I can speak about it like this, because we do it. We don't realize we do it, and then we do realize, and it's, how do I get out of that hole that I've dug myself into? But again, it's a journey. So if we think about the next one, it's recognizing our common humanity, and that connection with others. So, it's realizing that no matter what goals you have, no matter what journey you are on for yourself, is that, you are not alone. So we may be in the same ocean, but we're definitely not in the same boat, but it's how do we then find a way to kind of bring all the boats together and figure out a common understanding and say, okay, so if you're going through this, I have some advice. I've done this before. This is what I've gone through. And that's what's so great about the GS community is, when people post and they share, it's that shared community and connection, which is so fantastic. And then the last one on this slide is actually about mindfulness. And it's really just making sure that, we observe things around us, but making sure that we're not judgmental, that we're not suppressing our thoughts or feelings. So it's being present in that moment, recognizing how we feel, and then actioning, okay, so if that made me feel a certain way, if it made me feel bad, how am I going to counter that? What am I going to do to soothe myself, to make myself feel better about it? Okay. Okay, so this is where it gets really cool. So how do we start to put all of this stuff into action? So definitely something I want to share with you guys is, a couple of things that you can start doing to start practicing self-compassion. So I found that this image was so powerful because we often reach out to hug others, but it's never about, oh wow, like how am I feeling right now? Do I actually need a hug? It's crazy. So how would you treat someone else? So that's the first thing you've got to think of is if someone came to you and they were feeling sad about, let's say, they haven't met their goal in the time that they wanted to achieve it, what would you say to them? And then reverse it. Would you say that to yourself? You should be. What's your language? So what does your internal narrative look like, guys? So you may be criticizing yourself for things that no one else sees. Okay. So how you speak to yourself, pay attention to the words that you say. Is it a lot of negative association? And again, that can hinder how you start practicing the self-compassion. One of my favorite ones is comfort yourself with a physical gesture. So they often say in order to, calm someone down, you need to hug them for about 20 to 30 seconds to help them with their parasympathetic nervous system. So what's interesting here is that you can actually do this for yourself. So even if you are alone in that moment when you are going through something, it's quite literally something that I've seen Kathleen do in her practice is putting your hand on your heart or even just holding your arm and giving yourself that moment to feel human. It's okay. It's okay not to be okay. And in that moment, it's saying, I'm struggling right now, but I will accomplish, I will push past this, I will move past this. And that's, again, that self-compassion coming through.
Yeah, and I think that's it. You and I keep interrupting each other. I'm so sorry. It's the delay. I'm saying it's a practice that's very weird and awkward. Holding yourself feels weird and awkward, but it's actually something that's instinctively in us. So if you look at children in, they had a study that they did on children in Romania in the orphanages and how they were hugging themselves and rocking to give themselves some comfort. So it's actually innately in us to give ourselves comfort and to do that self-soothing, but we just feel it's like a weird thing to do and we just kind of shy away from it. So I like your idea of like just putting your hand on your heart, feeling your own heartbeat, because it actually makes you mindful as well in the moment, and that your heart's beating, like you're in the moment. So yeah, so it's very cool.
Yeah, you're here, and I think that also is something that gets lost is we forget our own humanity and that kindness to ourselves. So it's a good. Compassionate phrases. This one's also a favorite, but I'm still practicing this. I'll share this. I'm practicing. It's actually, memorizing a set of compassionate phrases. So let's say, for example, again, you look at yourself in the mirror and you just, I'm horrible. You say, oh, I'm just horrible. That's quite a negative narrative to have. So have a few compassionate phrases ready and saying, when you say I'm horrible, one of the compassionate phrases could be, I am a kind human being.
Mm.
And what that starts to do is, again, guys, like I said, it's a journey, it takes practice, but eventually once you start doing it, that desired behavior will start to kick in. And eventually that's what you say to yourself. And not to take away from the fact that we will have bad days and things won't work out, but it's how resilient we become and, how we persevere through those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is practicing guided meditation or what works for you. So the important one here with the what works for you is meditation doesn't work for everybody, and that's okay. So if it means baking, if you love to bake, if you love to cook, if you love to, go for that run or whatever it is, it's what's keeping you present, what's keeping you, what helps you breathe consistently. We face a lot of stresses, so it's what's helping you be present and be calm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so mindful of time.
It's okay.
Because I'm going too fast, guys. Yeah.
No, it's fine. People can always go watch the playback.
Okay. So in terms of one of the next tools and resources that I can help you guys with is building that mental resilience. So we've spoken about self-kindness, we've spoken about self-compassion, and building mental resilience is definitely a big one here. It helps you, it provides a stepping stone to get to that point. So if we think about the big four, is, in terms of goal setting, have you set clear goals for yourself? So if you want to focus on your mental well-being, if you want to focus on your physical well-being, intellectual well-being, whatever that may be, have you set clear goals? Self-talk, are you practicing positive self-talk? So we've just spoken about that negative narrative that happens all the time. So how do you start practicing that? Tactical breathing. So this is a good one. And it's really about, are you being present and mindful? So we've spoken about this. And then finally, visualization. So this one's also really cool. So it's, where do you want to go? Like, where is it that you're wanting to go? What is your, let's say, 6 months to 5 year plan? What is that goal that you have for yourself in terms of your well-being? So just to quickly go through it, the first one, like I said, was goal setting. So what's nice about this is you can set SMART goals. So, like I said, whatever it is, whether it's kindness, connection, compassion, whatever it is for you that you feel you need to work on, is, start with 1 or 2 weekly goals and build them up, okay? Write them down, and then, like Terry says, tick them off, as you go through them, but be disciplined. So, often what happens is that we get tired or we don't feel like it, but when you are also feeling a bit low, don't beat yourself up. Remember that the goal will still be there. It's when you achieve it. Okay. And then silence that inner critic, guys. I can't stress this enough. Silence that inner critic. It is, you are your harshest critic. They say it, and it's true. And this speaks to you exactly what I spoke about earlier, which is positive self-talk. So it's really, thinking about becoming aware. So like I said, it's going to take practice, but it is possible. Become aware of that internal narrative. If you are thinking negatively and you're hard on yourself, reframe it with positive thinking. So how can you practice thought stopping and start positive self-talk? This is also one of my favorite ones, guys. So something called a positive personal statement. Coach Tash, have you heard about that one before? Having a positive personal statement? Yeah.
Yep.
So this is a goodie because it's looking at yourself in the mirror. And again, it's tough at the beginning, it feels weird, but trust me, it works. So a positive personal statement. So looking at yourself in the mirror, whether it's in the morning, in the evening, when you're having a bad day, and forcing yourself to say, I am enough. I am a great mom, sister, brother. I am kind and I can do this. I can overcome absolutely anything I need to overcome. It's within me. So having these positive personal statements really do put a spin on the way your day is going. So write a few down, and I'm going to challenge you guys to write a few down after the session, even now, write them down. And then if you want to share them with us, please do. If not, that's okay. But put it down. Yeah. The next one was tactical breathing. So this one's quite nice because we've already got the resources at our disposal. So it's making sure that, I've actually just put in 2 screenshots of the day so you guys can go and have a look. But Coach Bridget did a Jeff Ed on breathing, which is awesome. And then Kathleen, in her practice every single day, is really about just making sure that you are breathing and that you are being mindful of where you are and being present. So go and have a look at that. And I need to get on the flow train. I definitely need to do that myself. Yeah. Now that I've said it out loud to everybody, I also need to now go and be on the flow train.
Accountability, girl.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then the last one, just before we kind of close off, is visualization. So I love this image as well because, we often set goals and we don't visualize actually achieving them. We write them down and we have them, but we don't visually recognize what they are. So, for example, I've put here, a professional runner does not envision running the race. They visualize winning and crossing the finish line. And that's so powerful because can you imagine if you did that for all of your goals? If you've already achieved them in your mind, is it going to be that much easier to get to that point?
Mm-hmm.
The last one is, right, so we've been talking about self-kindness, we've been speaking about compassion, we've been speaking about, some of those strategies to practice self-love and self-care, but how do we do that within our community? I absolutely love this slide. Reminds me of, it was actually the Cape Town warm-up that I took these pictures from. But
it's my feet in there.
It's really about just making sure that wherever you can and whatever you can do, is firstly practice that kindness with yourself. You can't give from an empty cup, and that's what we'll always say is you can't give from an empty cup. So once you start to build that up, how do you then bring in that connection with others? So it's all of these things I've suggested for you guys, but I mean, a lot of you are doing so many other things. But one of the things that I did want to mention is, in our Jeff community, there's this massive platform to connect, and, we only see certain people and we only know so many names, but it's ultimately, are you scrolling past the post that, someone may need support? Someone's maybe reaching out, someone's, looking for that community, that sense of community, and, do you move past it, or do you even like it or comment or share and say, I've been through this, it's hard, and that's where that connectedness is going to come from. But ultimately, it's reaching out, it's connecting, it's making sure that if you're practicing kindness within your family and all of that, extend that out because it's such a great thing and it's such a blessing. And that is pretty much me. So let's strengthen our kindness muscles, people. We can do it.
Oh, that's awesome. Fantastic. I love that because and I I know we spent a lot of time on self-kindness and just a quick mention on kindness to others, but I think the reasoning behind that is because we tend to, and this is not excluding anyone, but I think this is such a common thing that we as coaches find out that the moms that are on this journey that tend to put everybody else first and then don't have any time left for themselves or any time left for their own workouts or their own nutrition, like they're snacking on the kids' food, whatever it is. Putting yourself first is not necessarily self-focus. It's actually looking at the bigger picture and saying, I need to take care of my own health, my own mental well-being, my own spiritual well-being, my own physical well-being, the whole you, so that you can pour out. And then, our hearts is ultimately, the better people we can be, the better we can impact others and the brighter our light can shine to others as well. And so, reach out to your community. This is the month of love. So we are going to show our loved ones love, but extend that arm of compassion, further beyond that and do it, without, because I know, we do feel great when we give to others, but do it for the sake of just doing it and helping make the world, so cheesy, but make the world a little bit better. All right. So we do have a few comments. I don't see any questions on the side that I'm on, but guys, if you have comments, if you have questions, we will go through the comments and go answer them or point you in the direction of anything that we've mentioned. Goodness, I really hope that people hear the heart behind this, that this is not to to be self-focused. It's actually to focus on yourself a little bit more, because you just are, so quickly to show kindness to everybody else, and then we're not as kind to ourselves. So please know that that's the heart behind this message, and that's what we want to create as a community. Tracy Abrahams says, I cannot love this Ed enough. Thank you so much, Rae. Love you and so proud of you. Auntie Pat gave you tons of hearts. Lachey says hi. Katie Mayhew said, Rae, you're beaut. And then Bonnie said hi. Yvette said hi. Sarah, Bridget, Taryn, Vicky, Joy. Oh, just so many. Tracy, Esmery, Paula. Guys, thank you so much for dialing in today. This was so lovely. And Rae, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I hope that people will take a little bit of time, give themselves a little bit of a moment where they feel themselves, show themselves some compassion and love, and actually just take a moment to realize that filling up your own tank overflows and spills over to others, and you can show more love. So thanks, Rae, for doing that.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts on your side?
One of my favorite things. I mean, you ended it beautifully. Just from my side, guys, it's a journey. I think that's what it comes down to, is practice consistently. Do what you can to focus on your journey. Your journey is what's important. It's no one else. It's your journey. So focus on you. Focus on what's going to make you the best version of you. And be kind to yourself, everybody, and be human first.
That's beautiful. Love it. Okay, we'll end it there. So thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Jazz hands.
Bye, everybody.